It was obvious these people were dying for some reason, but they were humans, and they were just twice our size. An instructor then handed him a white card with a target on it that he was remote viewing. It showed Mars, 1,000,000 BC. Hello, I'm Wendy, and this is Conscious Living and Wendy's Coffee House Curious, a combo. I'm using some of the headlines that I posted on the blog. Used to do that back in the radio days when I was doing broadcast radio. This is also the same setup I've used before when I've had EVPs. We'll see if that happens again. Occasionally it's happened with guests, but I never know. It isn't predictable. Just like the night lights, not predictable. Okay, so the headlines: humanity may achieve the singularity within the next 12 months. They keep increasing this, like it was supposed to be 5 years, 10 years, 40 years, whatever. It's now 12 months. I'm not surprised. If you haven't checked out ChatGPT, it has improved tremendously just in the past 18 months. So it's full speed ahead. The U.S. Department of Defense has confirmed it's taking seriously the claims of former U.S. Air Force pilot Jacob Barber. He alleges he recovered alien technology while working for a secret government UFO retrieval program. The famous revival of religion, referencing Aldous Huxley, he wrote, "It will come about as the result of biochemical discoveries that will make it possible for large numbers of men and women to achieve a radical self-transcendence." That leads into, is God a mushroom? New research into the role of psychedelics upends our understanding of spirituality, and with it, our vision of the cosmos. And if you do any reading about Terence McKenna and his experiences, it's fascinating. Lance Mungia talks with Jeffrey Mishlove about his upcoming documentary, The PK Man. It explores the life of Ted Owens. I have interviewed Jeffrey Mishlove about Ted Owens, got the book. He's a fascinating person. His PK ability is off the charts. He said he could control weather, influence events, and summon UFOs through psychokinesis. There are details about what he did in this film with Lance. Mars once had an ocean and sandy beaches. Researchers say results from the northern lowlands of Mars are similar to those obtained at shorelines on Earth. And that's a result of using ground-penetrating radar. Both indicate features in the surface material that are tilted and with a similar angle towards the lowland or ocean direction. Fascinating. The voice told me they were here to change humankind, and the way they did it was to enlist help from people like me, John Foster, experiencer. He's 87. His experiences are extraordinary. Books are available on Amazon. The Kalanoro is a creature of the forest, never seen, but everyone talks about it. This is one of those folklore blogs, and I put the link on my blog. A recent addition to our mouse species, the woolly mouse. According to the creators, Beth Shapiro, Chief Science Officer at Colosso Biosciences, a Dallas company trying to resurrect the woolly mammoth and other extinct species, the mouse, is a slam dunk. Intervention. This one makes the point without sacrificing the subjects, because the 3 little piglets who were on display were stolen from an art exhibition in Copenhagen after an artist said they would be allowed to starve to death, in a commentary about animal welfare in Denmark. So the pigs have been rescued and taken somewhere, undisclosed, but it makes a point and spares them from animal cruelty. You may have heard about chatbots of the dead. This article says they should be made to serve a purpose that is more familiar and more complex, a purpose that can help us transcend our mortal condition, not through technological resurrection, but through imagination. In other words, there's more to this than just talking to a dead relative. Woody Harrelson's circa 1974 UFO story, he talked about it on the Colbert program. As a teen in Ohio, he saw strange blinking lights rapidly moving across the night sky. All the neighbors went out to look at it too. Says what was even more unusual about that after that event stopped, nobody talked about it. They all went inside like nothing had happened. But it happened. Former CIA agent claims there was life on Mars, and he has the evidence to prove it. And this is classic. This is Joe McMoneagle. He said, "I started getting an image of human beings that were trapped in a place where the atmosphere was turning bad. It was," he says to him, "obvious these people were dying for some reason, but they were humans, and they were just twice our size." An instructor then handed him a white card with a target on it that he was remote viewing. It showed Mars, 1,000,000 BC. And this one is about time. Using an engineered metamaterial, scientists in New York City were able to successfully observe time reflections for the first time. Sources are posted on my blog, and that's Talking to Nightlights at WordPress. Last Breath. This is a true story, the film out now. True story about the near-death experience of Chris Lemons, a young commercial diver who was lost at the bottom of the North Sea for about 40 minutes with only a little over 5 minutes of breathable gas in his emergency tank and no way to protect himself from the freezing underwater temperatures. Now, when you read about the film, you figure out there's all sorts of what they call umbilical cords to keep them alive. And to this day, there's no concrete explanation for how Lemons was able to survive for that long without oxygen and suffer no lasting physical or mental effects. Underwater, nearly 40 minutes. Miracle. And there's always a kicker. The dog and his skateboard. The dog's name is Chowder. This is the experimental sci-fi short. When I review this, I'll see if there's anything EVP-ish. I'm serious. When you have these things happen, it's just fascinating. Okay, so there's a lot of paranormal stuff I experience in my life, and it varies from weird time things to lights going on and off, and of course the night light 24/7. Now, right now, it's going through a period where it isn't blinking. It's just staying off. And there are 2 or 3 night lights that I work with, so they all do different things. But right now, the one that I count on the most, that I have for about 30 years, that one is staying off. And it goes through stages and phases of it's very active to less active to 0. And that's because it isn't a nightlight. It's an entity that's been with me, like I said, 30 years. Okay, so here we go. The Cosmic Punchline. This is my experimental sci-fi short. Charlie Rankin sat in his dingy apartment, staring at the blinking light on his toaster. It wasn't making toast. Wasn't even plugged in. It was just blinking. He exhaled. Okay, toaster, what the hell do you want? The toaster did not respond. Charlie had spent most of his life convinced that the world was a rigged game, a half-baked cosmic joke designed to keep humanity distracted with taxes, reality TV, and the illusion of free will. But lately, things had been getting weird. His refrigerator had started whispering to him at night. The street lights outside his apartment flickered in sequences that felt suspiciously like Morse code. And then there was that incident at the grocery store. He'd picked up a can of soup, chicken noodle corporate approved, as bland as America itself, when a man in a wrinkled trench coat grabbed his arm. "Don't eat the soup!" the man hissed. Charlie blinked. "Excuse me?" "The sodium levels alone will kill you, but that's not the point. The point is, it's not real." Charlie pulled his arm away. "Okay, buddy, maybe lay off the conspiracy podcasts." The man's eyes had burned with a frantic kind of intelligence. "Listen to me. The government, the corporations, they're not running things. They think they are, but they're just sock puppets. The real game is deeper. We're inside a simulation, and the ones outside, they're watching, testing us, waiting to see if we'll notice the glitches." Charlie had chuckled, shaking his head. "Oh, I notice the glitches, pal. I notice them every time my paycheck magically disappears before the rent's due." But the man had gripped his wrist tighter. "They only let you notice what they want you to notice." Then he leaned in and whispered something that still echoed in Charlie's brain. "Reality is a joke, but the punchline is classified." Charlie dragged himself back to the present. The toaster was still blinking. He sighed, rubbed his temples, and muttered, "Okay, maybe I finally lost it." That's when the toaster spoke. "Not yet, Charlie, but you're getting warmer." Charlie shot up from his chair. "Jesus Christ!" The toaster made a ding sound. "Close, but no cigar." Charlie backed away. "Okay, great. I'm talking to a toaster. This is fine. Totally normal." The toaster let out a mechanical sigh. "Look, Charlie, we don't have a lot of time. The men in beige are on their way." Charlie blinked. "The who?" "The men in beige. You know, the budget version of the men in black. Government cutbacks. Anyway, they monitor cases like yours. People who start seeing through the simulation." Charlie sat back down, rubbing his face. "All right, let's assume I haven't completely lost my mind. What do you want from me?" The toaster clicked. "Simple. You have to tell the others. Wake them up. Help them see that reality is just an overpriced theme park with broken rides. Charlie laughed bitterly. Oh, sure, no problem. I'll just walk outside, tell people reality's a scam. That should go great. Maybe I'll get a nice padded room with a view. The toaster went silent for a moment. Then it said, Look, Carlin tried, Dick tried. Hell, even Lennon had to go at it before they shut him up. But people aren't ready for the whole truth. You got to ease them into it. Charlie folded his arms. And how do you suggest I do that? The toaster hesitated. Then, stand-up comedy. Charlie blinked. What? You heard me, the toaster said. Nobody trusts politicians, philosophers, or guys handing out pamphlets on the street. But comedians. People will listen to a guy who makes them laugh. Slip the truth between the dick jokes, make them laugh at the absurdity of it all, and maybe, just maybe, they'll start thinking. Charlie considered this. So I'm supposed to be some kind of cosmic comedian prophet? The toaster chuckled. Now that's a punchline. Charlie sighed and reached for his notebook. If reality was a joke, he might as well deliver it right. Outside, down the street, two figures in beige trench coats watched his window. He's waking up. Yep. Should we shut him down? Nah, let's see if he bombs first. They faded into the crowd as the simulation hummed along. Business as usual. The end. From Lewis Carroll, The Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland. Imagination is the only weapon in the war with reality. The headlines are sourced from various news feeds, and they are current at the time of this podcast. My blog site, Talking to Nightlights, WordPress.com. And thanks for listening.